All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, whether it was under former head football coach Mark Richt or current football coach Kirby Smart, we've seen the Georgia Bulldogs be so close to winning the national title. You think back to their heartbreaking loss to Alabama in the 2012 SEC championship game. Then a few years ago, under Smart, this team got to the national championship game in Atlanta and they were up on Alabama and they lost. They then followed this up the next year by getting to the SEC championship game, having a 2 touchdown lead on Alabama before the wheels came apart. But you have to wonder this time around if things are different for the Dogs as they look like they're finally starting to come together. Now, the Dogs have the nation's best defense, and no Georgia opponent so far this season has scored more than 13 points against them, as quarterbacks around the Southeastern Conference are finding it out the hard way. And following Alabama's loss this past Saturday night to Texas A&M, Georgia is now the top ranked team in the nation. You look at the job that Kirby Smart has done. He continuously gets solid recruiting classes. He continuously has a physical brand of football for this Georgia club. And you know what? This team goes out there and they play bully ball and they flex their muscles. They have the top ranked defense in the nation. And this defense flat out is nasty. They're led by inside linebacker Nakobe Dean. And there are several guys who have bright futures in the National Football League that are playing on this unit right now. We know about Georgia's long and storied history when it comes to running the football, and that is once again the case with Zamir White. Now, JT Daniels started the season at quarterback, but now it's Stetson Bennett. And you know what? This offense has been able to do just enough, but they're getting it going as the weeks progress. And I think come November, this offense is going to get its sea legs. And that's going to be very important because you know what? If you get an offense from Georgia that can score consistently and put up 27, 28 points a game, you got a darn good chance to win because even if teams start to figure out what Georgia's doing defensively, I don't see a lot of teams facing them, at least in their regular season slate of games, that are going to say, hey, you know what, we can score 20 points or more versus Georgia. That's the big thing. And you look at Georgia's schedule for the remainder of the season, there is a pretty good shot that this team runs the table. We saw them, throttle Auburn this past Saturday on the road in Auburn at Jordan Hare. But nonetheless, this Saturday, Georgia will host Kentucky, an undefeated team from the SEC East. And who knew that this game right here could decide who wins the SEC East and gets to the SEC championship game. But you know what? As good as Kentucky has been, I'm not sure if they're on that level of what we're seeing right now from Georgia. In a couple of weeks, the Dogs will be down in Jacksonville to take on Florida in their annual matchup there. And Florida is retooling after they won the SEC East last year. They've taken a step back and they've got to try to figure things out at the quarterback position, most importantly. So that's an edge for the Dogs. Missouri and Tennessee are two more games in the SEC slate of games remaining for Georgia in the month of November. And I don't see either one of them slowing down the Dogs. Now, in recent years, we've seen that one hiccup game for Georgia during the regular season. And I think this team is laser focused right now in order to avoid, the upset. They got a lot of confidence going to Charlotte and beating Clemson to begin the season. And I know that Clemson offensively is not what they have been in years past, but nonetheless, to go into their backyard, nonetheless, and get that win, I think it was huge for the psyche of Georgia. They've taken care of business. They just consistently mowed down people throughout this season, and I think it's going to keep going. I look at it right now. I said it before the season started, and I'm going to stick by it. It's more than likely going to be Georgia and Alabama in the SEC championship game. I said there was a possibility that both of them could come into this game undefeated. That is no longer the case, of course, with Alabama losing to A&M. But nonetheless, I expect Alabama to get focused, refocused, and get back on track. And you could have a situation where you have an undefeated Georgia team taking on a one-loss Alabama team in the SEC championship game. And it's one of those scenarios that as long as Georgia gets to the SEC championship game undefeated, I think they're in the college football playoff. It's just a matter of that point of seeding or not. If Georgia wins the SEC championship game, they're obviously the top seed. If not, they'll fall back. But nonetheless, with their body of work, I think they get in. But nonetheless, it's going to be one of those scenarios. For me, I think it just comes down to where's Georgia going to play in the playoff. Is it going to be Miami Gardens or is it going to be in Arlington at the Cotton Bowl? We'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, I like this team's chances of getting to the playoff. I like this team's chances of doing some damage when they get to the playoff because it's all about that D and it's all about that physicality. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, what happens from there. But you look at the way that things are right now for Georgia, and this could be the perfect storm in Athens for this team to finally win it all. They've been so close, and they just have not been able to get over the hump. And if Kirby Smart and this current Georgia team is able to deliver on that, you might as well just begin to etch the statue for him in Athens. This is a good season for Georgia, and it has the potential to get a lot greater. Let's see how the Dogs finish in the regular season heading into the postseason. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you are on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.